Son's going to the Asia Cup, Salah's going to the African Cup of Nations, leaving two gaping holes in our FPL teams. What are we to do? Save the money, keep them on the bench? Don't worry. In this video, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, but I'm also going to recommend you 5 players who I think are the perfect candidates to replace these two premium assets in our teams. Now, before we jump into this video, do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share the video with anyone you think might enjoy this content. Right, let's get into it. Before we jump into the players, I want to talk to you about the tournament itself. It has some relevance to our transfer, so let me just quickly run through the graphic beside me. If you look, I've got the date, start date, end date, locations, and also I've got a list of other players that are going to be going to the tournament. Now, obviously, I'm focusing on Son and Salah here. They're the expensive premium players that we need to do something about, but there are other players that could be in your squad, whether it's Chan or Jackson, that you need to fix as well. So definitely keep an eye on the list. More importantly, the other graphic, which is taken from Rob T FPL, is I'm going to put a link to his Twitter account on my description to this video. It's unbelievable graphic. What it gives you estimated time scales, like, you know, the probability of how long they could be gone for, depending on where they reach. So if you get knocked out, for example, in the group stages, you might miss 1 game, potentially 2. If you get knocked out in the quarterfinals, it might be 3 to 4 games, which is pretty useful information. Now, if you take that and then look at the teams that Son and Salah play for, they're pretty strong. In my head, I'm estimating at least 3 to 4 games, which means keeping them on the bench is not a viable strategy for me. More likely, I want to sell up and buy other players that I can get maximum points with, and when they arrive back, I can buy them back. That's the initial plan. But also, some of us have sold Haaland a couple of weeks ago when he got injured. We've spent that money, and just today, I've seen that he's training with a ball at his feet. Now, that got me smirking. It got me a little bit worried because I need to have money in my bank so I can buy him back. The next game is Newcastle. You saw how Newcastle defended against Liverpool. My goodness, if they play like that against City, Haaland could feast. Now, it's not 100% that he'll be ready for that game, but still, this is all the thoughts going through my head to make sure how I'm going to utilize this money, and it's something you should be doing. All right, let's get into the first player that I think is the perfect replacement for Salah and Son. The first player I'm going to recommend is Phil Foden. Coming in at 7.8 million, he's a perfect candidate. If you look at his last 5 games and his returns, he's had a 12, a 8, a 5, a 2, and a 3. Without a doubt, you can see in the last 3 games especially, the consistency is there. He's playing with a smile on his face. Why is that? Well, maybe because he's playing through the middle, his favourite position. And since the World Club Championship, which they won, he's been on it. So clearly something's clicked, whether it's, I don't know, him and Pep, or he's just getting a run of games now uninterrupted. Definitely playing at a nice level, hence why he's first on my list of replacements. I haven't added to this potential pluses, and they could have a double game week, but I didn't want to put that in until it's confirmed. But that is something, another bonus with buying a City player that could happen. That City-Brentford game definitely needs to be arranged. We're not sure, but after the FA Cup fixtures, we might get something. So it's definitely worth waiting until after the fixtures are played. You never know, it could be decisive in making your transfers. Now, the next fixtures are Newcastle away. You saw how Newcastle defended against Liverpool. Yeah, can you imagine Foden in that game? My goodness. Burnley at home. Burnley are defensively horrendous as well. And Brentford, who look like they've just died. I swear they've lost 5 games in a row. So lovely fixtures for Manchester City. Now, if you look at it, he's had 5 goals, 6 assists in 1,514 minutes, which isn't incredible. But I did say, start of the season, he was playing all right, but recently he's really turned it up. And this is the reason he's definitely under serious consideration for me to replace Salah and Son. Only negative I can think of is KDB's training. He's pretty close. What are the implications with KDB coming back? We know KDB's world class. If he's fully fit, he starts. So who drops? Now, you'd like to think he plays in one of the positions that Phil Foden and Alvarez are occupying. Do they just rotate together? Because I can't see KDB going straight in playing 90 minutes, of course. So Foden will have minutes. I'm not too concerned, but I'd love it how it is at the moment, where he's getting consistent, solid minutes, at least 80 minutes per game, which is huge. So yeah, that's my first selection. Let me know in the comments what you think. Yep, it's Bowen, and he fully deserves to be in this list. Let me tell you why I think he's an excellent replacement. Coming in at £8 million, maybe not as cheap as the other midfielders, but it's not a problem. We're selling Son and Salah, so we're not exactly going to be broke and trying to scrimp the money here. 11 goals, 2 assists in 1,707 minutes. That's unbelievable. Them numbers will be incredible even if he's playing for Arsenal, but they're extra amazing as he's doing it playing for West Ham, who are not the most attacking team. So it's excellent. It tells you this is a player in form. Last 5 games, 3, 6, 8, 8, 2. So that's 3 returns out of 5. It's pretty consistent. Obviously, not massive hauls there, but still, he's delivering. Playing up front, which I think is a positive. I mean, there are arguments out there that he's far superior player playing wide, but up recently, Kudos and Paquet's, or whether it's Benrahma, have been taking a wide position and he's been trusted up front, and he's done a great job. So I don't think that's an issue. I'd take that as a plus. Fixtures, he's got Sheffield United away, Bournemouth at home, Man United away. They're lovely fixtures. They're perfect for us. In them 3 fixtures cover us for the obviously AFCON and Asia Cup as well. So it's just good timing. Bowen he's a nice fit. A couple of negative. Kudos leaving, of course, is going to impact you because Kudos looks like he's a top player and he was impacting this West Ham team. So losing him, it's going to hurt their creativity. And recently, Paqueta, he's injured. Came off the other day complaining with a calf, I think, injury, but doesn't seem that bad, but still, it's something to keep an eye on because losing 1 is bad enough. Losing 2 could really impact their creativity. And if we're going to go by the last game, the Brighton game, it wasn't a good game. It was possibly one of their worst attacking displays recently. So something to bear in mind before you pull the trigger on Bowen. But that's my second transfer I'm recommending. Let's have a look at the third. It's the pigeon himself, Richarlison. Why am I recommending him? Well, first of all, let's look at his price. 6.9 million. Unbelievable. So cheap. And again, we'll be putting loads of money in our bank. If you're selling Son and bringing him in, it's just a lovely feeling to know you've got that money in the bank. But it's not just about the money. You're getting a top player here. Let's look at his last 5 game weeks. Look at his returns. 8, 1, 8, 9, 15. That's 4 returns out of 5. Super consistent. And some of the returns would have been more because in them games, some of the games he was managed, he was taken off a little bit early. I mean, we must remember he's coming back from an injury, so they're looking out for him. And one of the games, there was a red card in the team, so they took him off and put Son up top for the counter-attack, which had affected his minutes. But yet, he's delivered them returns. Unreal. He's got 6 goals, 3 assists in 911 minutes, which is pretty good. And to be honest, some of the minutes were at the start of the season where he was playing through an injury and wasn't playing well. So if we look at that, just the recent returns, very, very good. Another plus is Son not available. Basically, no rotation, no headache. Because Son can play through the middle, and depending on the team or the tactics that Ange wants to take up, it's possible that he could have rested and Son could have played up top. So you don't even have that option at the moment. It looks like Richarlison, as long as he's fit, he's playing, which is a big, big positive. Last up, let's have a look at his fixtures. Man United away, Brentford at home, Everton away. These are good fixtures. I mean, you might not think so. Man United are random. Jacqueline High team. You don't know what you're going to get with them, but I'd like to think Spurs had to score at least 2. Brentford are really struggling. I think they've lost 5 in a row. They're on the ropes at the moment. The trickiest fixture there is Everton away. But even there, I fancy Spurs to score. Only negative I can think of, which was just a positive a minute ago, is Son leaving. Of course, whenever your team loses a world-class player, it affects the team. Basically, defenders normally would double up on Son because they're so scared. Now, not necessarily, which means more eyes on Richarlison, which will impact him. The only negative I can think of. Let's have a look at my next player. Next up, we have Palmer. Now, this boy has been playing incredibly well at the moment. I'd like to think most of you own him. If you've watched my previous transfer videos, he's featured quite a lot. Now, if you don't own him, you need to correct that decision. It's a perfect opportunity. Don't let his price fool you. I know he's cheap. 5.6 million is ridiculous. He's an 8.5 to 9 million pound player, and you might as well enjoy it this season because you're not going to see that again next season. Now, his fixtures: Fulham at home, Liverpool away, Wolves at home. Not the easiest, to be honest, but the way he's playing, I don't think that's an issue. And at that price, worst comes to worst, you could bench him. I mean, I won't, but you could bench him. He's a cheap enabler, as I said. 5.6 million is unreal. 8 goals, 5 assists in 1,150 minutes, which is a lovely return, considering he didn't really start the season. He wasn't really favoured, but once he's gone in, Pox quickly clicks on that this guy is the heartbeat of the team. Everything goes through him. Top player. And he's a penalty taker. That shouldn't go unnoticed. That's a huge attribute for FPL players we bring in. I've said it before. A team could be doing nothing. Mudryk or Raheem gets fouled in a box. Up he steps. 10 points. It's a game changer, honestly. Don't. It's a big, powerful attribute to have in a FPL player. Only negative I can think of is Chelsea's form. They're random. You don't know what's going to turn up. They played pretty good against the Luton, but again, in any of these fixtures, they could easily lose them. But I'd like to think if Chelsea get something, Palmer's at the heart of it. Hence why I'm still recommending him. I've got no issue bringing him in. Let's have a look at the next player. Last up, it's Jota. And yes, of course, I'm going to recommend him. Salah's flying out. It means one less attacker for Klopp to select. Probability increases of him getting minutes. So he's definitely in there with a shout. And it's a player I really like. Why is that? Well, coming in at 7.7 million, it's not really relevant considering we're selling Son and Salah here. Fixtures, Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home, Arsenal away. Arsenal being a difficult fixture here. Clearly, they're challenging for the championship. But Chelsea at home, Klopp will remember the draw at the start of the season. I'm sure he's going to want revenge. He's not going to be happy about that. And then Bournemouth away. Bournemouth been decent recently, but I see Liverpool scoring at least 2 goals there. Last 2 games, 7 and a 6. That just tells me he's just come back from injury. When he plays, he returns. This is the reason he had to be on this list. He's a higher risk player than the other 4 I've recommended, but with risk, sometimes there comes reward. 5 goals, 4 assists in 664 minutes, which is a decent return, considering at times he's had to play wide, and no Salah. Now, very rare that can ever be a positive. The only reason is in there as a positive is that it means instead of Klopp having 5 players to select from, he's got 4. Increases the probability of him getting minutes and playing, basically. Negative, injury prone. Not just injury prone, he's just come back from an injury, which means he will be managed. I don't see him playing 90 minutes, but to be fair, not a lot of Liverpool players get to play 90 minutes. But as Klopp tends to use the subs now, with a congested period, players playing a lot of games, he's utilising the subs. So that's not really an issue. With Jota, if you're getting 70 minutes, you're laughing. Like, you'll see returns. It's as simple as that. So I really like this pick. He's definitely one I'm considering because as I'm still trying to climb mini leagues and overall rank, and I can see a lot of the other players being very popular. They're more the safer picks, but this is a differential that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on. That's how I'm dealing with Son and Salah leaving our teams. What do you think? Do you agree with the 5 players I've suggested? Get in the comments and let me know if I've missed anyone. But in fact, just get in the comments and let me know who you're bringing in. What's your strategy? Are you going to bench them? Are you going to sell both of them? Are you trying to catch the price rises and price drops? Get in the comments and let me know. I'm always intrigued to see what other FPL managers are doing. Now, before you jump off to your next video, do me a favor. Like, subscribe and share and all that good stuff goes a long way. And on that note, I'm going to wish you good luck and see you on my next video.